You are at the cusp of giving up. You want to quit, but you have been looking for somebody to reassure you that it's completely okay to quit. But in order to ensure that you take that decision more prudently and you don't end up regretting that decision of yours later, let's dive deep into this video. Welcome all you fantastic folks out there. I am Pritha, and in this channel, we shall embark on a soul-stirring odyssey together. Let's begin. You definitely might have come across the perseverance stories of MS Dhoni, JK Rowling, Narayan Murthy, Abraham Lincoln, and many more. But what if I tell you that following the footsteps of these legends isn't always the best path that you can choose for yourself? In fact, rather than persevering, sometimes quitting can be an act of true courage. Yes, quitting can be an act of true courage that you can choose for yourself. But the first question that needs to be demystified is, why do people choose to quit in the first place? Okay, let's answer this question. Pick up any of the reason for which any of you is willing to quit. And all those reasons of yours can be classified mainly into 4 different categories. The first reason being the difficulty of the task at hand. Probably you are willing to quit that task because it's too challenging for you to deal with. The second reason can be the unachievability of the goal that you have set for yourself. This perception of unachievability of the goal may be based on multiple factors like insurmountable obstacles, like financial constraints, or unrealistic expectations that you have set from yourself. The third category of reason is the opportunity cost of the task that you have chosen for yourself. Even if an endeavor is achievable, you believe that the cost of pursuing it in terms of maybe your time, your money, or the sacrifice that you are making is too high in comparison to the potential benefits that it will reap to you. Coming to the fourth category of reason. As our life evolves, our priorities shift. And as our priorities shift, there might be an imbalance between our current goal and the values that we are seeking from our lives. For example, you might be willing to prioritize mental peace over monetary benefits, or vice versa. Pick up any of the reason and you will probably be able to categorize any of your reason into either of these 4 categories, or probably they can be combination of more than one of the reasons. Although I'm here to reassure you that it's completely okay to quit, but I would suggest you to hang in there if the reason for you to quit is merely the difficulty of your goal. Seth Godin, in his book The Dip, answers this question very convincingly. According to him, anything that is worth learning, there is probably going to be a dip. A dip is a long slog between the starting and the mastery. But with more exposure to information and learning experiences, we realize that there are gaps in our knowledge. And this is what is exactly called as dip. Dip creates a scarcity because most of the people choose to quit here. And the scarcity creates value. You might have definitely heard of the demand supply theory in economics. However, those who build the ability to push through the moments when it's easier to quit emerge successful. This idea of dip put forth by Seth Godin is exactly in consonance with the Dunning-Kruger effect. We'll learn more about the Dunning-Kruger effect in some other video. Persevering in the face of unachievability of the task, high opportunity cost, or changed priorities isn't the best way out. Let us understand why. There are certain downsides to the act of persevering, and we'll understand these side effects with the help of an analogy. Rowing a boat against the flow of the stream not only consumes more energy, but it also reduces the efficiency of the boat and the speed of the boat. So we can choose either to go with the flow, or maybe we can choose some other means to reach our destination, maybe a car. So my take is that persistence is good, but we need to ask ourselves the question that persistence at what cost? And that is probably the most adaptive thing that we can do. Persisting in wrong situations not only reduces our speed and efficiency, but it also has a very negative impact on our physical and mental well-being. A groundbreaking study was conducted by 2 researchers named Miller and Roche, which was published in a journal named Psychological Science. The study found out that the girls who were unable to disengage themselves from the hard to reach goals exhibited higher levels of inflammatory molecule C-reactive protein. And this protein was linked to higher chances of diabetes, heart diseases, and early aging in adults. Just that, it can lead to even strained relationships, stagnation, regret of lost opportunities, impaired decision making, low self esteem, and much more. Despite the opportunity cost being so high, why do people choose not to quit? People often persist in such situations for a myriad of reasons. The foremost reason being the sunk cost fallacy. The sunk cost fallacy is a cognitive bias owing to which people tend to think that their past investments of time, money, and effort will be wasted if they choose to quit, despite the costs outweigh the benefits. One of the most prominent reasons, other than the sunk cost fallacy, is the fear of being labeled as a quitter or a failure. External expectations from family and society can add weight to the decision to persevere. At this juncture, when you are unable to decide and you are so overwhelmed, you need to tell yourself this. By quitting, you might be releasing and redirecting your limited amount of time and energy from something obsolete to something that can produce you concrete results. And if you are suffering from a bimari that is named Log Kya Kahenge, then you definitely need to get hold of a book named The Courage to be Disliked or The Subtle Art of Not Giving Up. After realizing that it's okay to quit, the next step that comes is to disengage from our current goals. So let me help you understand that how can we disengage from our current goal. Roche principle of goal adjustment is a very relevant tool to answer this question. This goal adjustment capacities involves two stages. The first stage being the goal disengagement stage and the second stage being the goal re-engagement. The goal disengagement stage, we gradually prepare ourselves to withdraw from our current goal. The gradual withdrawal from our current goal can be achieved with the help of three processes. The first one of the three processes is the recognition of unattainability. This is the most important stage because in the first place we are not ready to accept that the goal we are chasing is no more attainable. This stage requires an individual to introspect, do thorough self-analysis of the pros and the cons, and be very, very self-aware. Times, in order to progress, we don't need more energy. Instead, we need to let go of what's blocking us in the first place. The second process in the goal disengagement stage is that of adaptive coping. To undergo the process of adaptive coping, we need to reevaluate the importance of our own goals. Then we need to readjust our expectation from our own self, and thereafter we need to seek alternative paths to fulfillment. There is a need to reconsider the path that we are choosing to reach our destination and not the actual goal that needs to be changed. For example, if social service is the ultimate goal and becoming a civil servant seems too humongous a task, then one can choose to join or open an NGO. Then comes the third process in the goal disengagement stage. While undergoing this third process in the goal disengagement stage, one needs to recognize the negative emotional consequences that may arise from the relentless pursuit of an unattainable goal. In a nutshell, in the goal disengagement stage, we slowly and gradually move away from our current goal. Now comes the second stage, that is the stage of goal re-engagement. Basically, in this stage, we redirect our energy from our old goals to the new ones. The goal re-engagement stage involves 5 processes. The first one of the 5 processes is identifying an alternative goal for oneself. While setting a new goal, we must keep in mind that we should not commit the same mistake that we committed last time while we were setting our goal. So while setting a goal, there are 3 things that needs to be taken into consideration: the process, the product, and the byproduct. Let me explain it to you with the help of an example. Let's consider someone who is preparing for civil services examination. What forms the process part of this goal? The process part is preparing for the examination. The second component being the product. What is the product? The product is the services that we'll get after clearing our examination. and the byproduct being the power, the prestige, and the money that will entail with getting into services. The mistake that most of us commit is while prioritizing these three components while we are setting our goal. Most of us set our goal by first prioritizing the product, the byproduct, and at last the process. It should not be the case at all. The process is equally important as much as the product and the byproduct. In fact, at times it is more important. The process of reaching your product but must be equally enthralling to you as much as the product and the byproduct itself, because you need to spend a lot of time in the process. This exact idea is what is propagated by James Clear in his very famous book Atomic Habits. Next process that comes in line is being flexible in your goal setting. Must be ready to adapt to changing circumstances. Maybe we have to keep evolving our ways to reach our goal, or maybe at times we even need to change our goal that we set for ourselves in the first place. Then comes the third process. The third process involves incorporating values into these goals. In order to shield ourselves from cognitive dissonance, we need to balance our goals and our values, and we must ensure that our goals are in sync with our core values. Mistake that all of us commit is that we measure our success from the yardstick of society, while we forget that the actual success is personal satisfaction and happiness. Not only helps you avoid cognitive dissonance, but also ensures that you stick to your goal for a long term and you actually achieve it. The fourth process is anticipating the dip. Yes, coming again to the Dunning-Kruger effect. No matter what goal we set for ourselves, we are going to face the dip. In the starting, it is going to be fun. We are going to face the dip. And if we persist through that dip, we are going to make through it and we might emerge successful. So stick to it if you are facing the dip. Then comes the final process. Deciding in advance when to quit can be really powerful. Deciding this in advance can help you stay consistent and dedicated towards your goal. At the end of the day, the choice is yours whether you choose to pursue it or you opt out of it. But the pursuit of happiness remains constant too. In this direction, we must not put off our happiness until we achieve that milestone. In fact, James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits, suggests that falling in love with the process rather than the product will determine your progress. So, align the two P's in your life to achieve the third one and you are good to go. I hope that the effort that I put in this video proves to be fructuous to you and the video was informative to you. See you in my next video. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.